today. We get sad news, and I would like to give the floor first to Adam Peake, and not to take people by surprise. I would like then to invite Olivier Crépin-Leblanc, who is, amongst other things, chair of the ISOC UK chapter, and then to Nick, as he's also from UK. Jorge from the GAC will be willing to say a few words. We will not go around everybody and all the participants, but I was thinking that as it's our first event at EuroLaw, it will be a good testimony to our good friend Nigel Hickson. May I give you the floor, Adam, please?
Thank you. And yes, it's a pleasure to be able to try and honor Nigel. I've done a couple of these and I tend to at some point break down. So allow me to continue. You can take over. I'll wave a panicking hand. As I think we all know, Nigel passed away yesterday morning, Monday morning, early in the morning. He'd had cancer for many years, and I had the good fortune to see him on Saturday. He was at home. He was with his family. He was lying on a bed and he was comfortable. He was tired and he was chatty. He was particularly chatty and chatting about Seattle, about seeing you all. Here we go. Okay, about seeing you all, because he loved it. He loved us, I think, and I hope we loved him. He was a colleague and a friend, and going to miss him. He helped establish ICANN's office in Brussels. He led our engagement with the Commission, with the UN in Europe, and globally with intergovernmental organizations. And he was also a community member. He loved working with the fellows and the next gen. He was passionate in the IGF about inclusivity, about the future and the opportunity of the internet. And I should probably stop there.
Thank you, Adam. And we understand completely. Thank you for giving us your feedback. May I give the floor to Olivier Crépin-Leblanc, please?
Yeah, thanks very much, Sébastien Olivier speaking. The difficulty with Nigel is that I've known him for many years, and I did relay the terrible news to a number of mailing lists around because nobody was aware, and the amount of messages that came through to his colleagues in the UK government is just overwhelming. Huge number of messages from people around the world. This is a chap who talked the talk and walked the walk. I remember a few times, a few moments which really stood out so much, which I'll remember for the rest of my life. A few of them, like at the European School of Internet Governance, where one of the things that we often did was to have some late night discussions with the students, fueled by copious quantities of wine. And while I staggered and just made my way to the breakfast room the next day at 8:30 a.m., Nigel had already been out at 6 o'clock or 6:30, done his 10 kilometers of running, responded to emails, and then he was already there for breakfast with an incredible amount of energy. Number of times, another time, and with the few days before the UK IGF, we were in the pub just around the corner from the Parliament, and he goes, "What do you want the minister to say?" And I said, "I don't know. What can the minister say?" And he said, "Just say anything he wants to say. I'll write it. And if he says it, that means he hasn't read it before he says it." So that's a typical Nigel thing to do and to say in this way. At the Global IGF in Berlin, I was sitting close to him during the taking stock. He turns around, he goes, "I think people are sleeping. This is just getting incredibly boring." And oh, God. And he stood up and he went over to the mic and he had an intervention which you might wish to watch, but he just woke the whole room up and brought this energy into the room, which only he could do to bring to everyone. When I was co-chair of the cross-community working group on internet governance, the amount of work that Nigel did with Tariq Kamal at the time, Tariq also missing, and the amount of work they did behind the scenes to get ICANN to have such a strong voice in the issues of internet governance. And when things were looking as though they were falling apart, he was masterminding these and working on these. His trademark saying, and I'm sure you'll all remember it, is when he went to the mic, he sometimes started with, I suppose I might get fired if I say this, but, and then he'll say it. And on another occasion, I was particularly depressed about the outcome of something. And I was speaking with him, and I said, why do we do this, Nigel? Why do we put ourselves through all this hassle and all this work and everything? And he goes, I suppose we're doing it for Queen and glory. And I had to remind him I'm French, and we chopped the head off our king a while ago. And he goes, then all you have is glory. That's all you have. So there you go. I should just say Nigel is a legend. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Olivier. May I ask you to put the link about the memory book you were talking to us, to give the link to the participant somewhere?
There doesn't seem to be a link yet. It's by email, and I will forward the email. Or maybe Adam has a link. Let's find out.
Okay,
Yep.
Adam, please.
Yeah, Adam Peake, speaking for the record. There are a lot of memorial books being discussed, and we're going to coordinate and make sure there's a central point for memories and comments and so on. ICANN will be doing something at some point, and the community will be encouraged to encourage us to do it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam. And I wanted just to read you before giving the floor to Nick that the chair of the board said in the mail announcing the news, we will honor his memory at our upcoming meeting, ICANN 83 in Prague. Be ready for that. Thank you. And Nick, please, your turn if you wish.
Thank you, Sebastian. And yeah, it's terribly sad news. On a very personal note, my father was a senior civil servant in government, and in many ways, this sort of old style of civil service, British civil servant, is something of the past. I think Nigel's, as you've heard, very plain spoken, honest, from the heart approach actually was incredibly effective and constructive, and I think we're all going to miss his trademark hats and to be chatting in a corner of a room with a glass of wine. I have so many memories of his sort of idiosyncrasies, including him asking me the directions to a room which he had arranged a meeting for us to go into, and was in completely the wrong place. But it didn't matter, because he was, despite that sort of appearance of not quite being on top of things, he's actually very sharp and very effective in a way that is very instructive for those of us who've come into the community at a later point in time. Very kind person. I think that's the main thing I would like to emphasize. Not a mean bone in his body. I think we're all very sorry about the news. Very untimely departure, far too young. Yeah, there'll be plenty more said, but from the UK, certainly from the registry point of view, from the UK, he's been an incredibly helpful, sometimes critical, but in a very constructive way. We really appreciated over the years having that sort of official to guide us and to advise us, and I think that's a real loss, actually. We will talk more on this in the future, but it's a proper role model for younger generations of public administrators, and so I think I'll leave it there. Just some very sad news, and we look forward to celebrating it and commemorating it properly.
Thank you very much, Nick. Jorge, do you want to say a few words, please?
Sure. Thank you, Sebastian. Yeah, just to share with you, as the gag list is not public, that there is really an outburst of messages there of people from China to Russia to South America to North America to Africa to Europe, of course, to all parts of the world, sharing their memories with Nigel, their recent and their distant memories, because he had been around for quite some time. So I guess Nigel was really part of our family, a very important member of the family, a role model. I don't think to the younger ones only, also for older people like myself. Many times we had the thought, okay, what would Nigel do? Or what is Nigel thinking about this or that, or how can we exchange, or what can we do together? And this was just a couple of weeks ago. So it's really extremely sad, and we feel very much with all our UK friends, but in general with the whole ICANN and ITU family, because it's happening in many different places in parallel that we see this really sharing of memories and of sympathy and deep felt feelings for the passing of our dear friend Nigel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will not go one by one, but if there are people who want to take this opportunity to say a few words, no obligation. There will be other opportunities, but if you wish, we can have additional some time on that. Yeah, Pierre, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Very quickly, of course, that's very sad news. And the fact that it was in a way expected, it is not making it less sad. I just wanted to share two things that to me are strong about Nigel. The first thing is just that there was almost no cocktail organized on the first day of ICANN where I didn't end talking with him. And I think we were almost one of the two who always have a hat on our head, and it was very easy to recognize each other in the room. He always had his hat on his head at the end of the day. The thing that strikes me with Nigel, which I knew since the negotiation of the WSIS, is that he looks frail and sometimes looks like he's not in the good place, a little bit lost. But the way sometimes he spoke was almost Churchillian, with his frail attitude and his strong voice. I've seen and heard speeches by Nigel that were really enthusiastic, moving people, a kind of maybe old school politician speech, but there were a few people who were able to give some strength and some energy to discussion that may, as Olivier said, sometimes be a little bit boring. And I will remember him for that. Put spice, intelligence, and energy in discussions that sometimes were boring. He was bringing life to us. So I will remember him for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre. Before giving the floor to Andrea, I would like to ask our colleague from the ICANN board, Martin, please take the floor.
Thank you for the invite, Sebastian. Some moments in life you will remember. That's the moment that we heard Nigel has gone. As Pierre said, we all knew he was at some point leaving us, and yet it still comes with a shock. We heard this in Brussels, where a couple of ICANN people were together, and NCC for that matter, people who knew him. We looked for each other and we sat together, we talked about it. It's a man not easy to forget. He will not be forgotten. His enthusiasm is amazing. Soon after I heard, we informed the board was also very shocked, reflective, and so forth. Because this man has brought so much. It's an energy that we will need to keep in mind when we meet next time together. Adam, thanks for sharing and for being able to see him in his house. It really helps to know that he knew he was appreciated to the very end, and that he was probably going out with a smile, even though he will miss us and we will miss him. So thank you for the opportunity, and please know this is a feeling shared widely. At the end of the two-day meeting we had in Brussels, organized by the European Commission and the Polish presidency, there was a standstill as well, and the whole conference listened and remembered him. It's amazing how many people know him, and I haven't found people who knew him that didn't love him. So
thank you very much, Martin. Andrea, please.
Hello, Sebastian. Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's really a shock. And even as many of you said, he was fighting a very severe condition, but he was able to continue and carry on and keep up the spirit. And that's something so remarkable. If sometimes even if we have an headache, we just can just change our mood and turn up very unpleasant. With Nigel, was never the case. He was always upbeat. He was always constructive. He was always looking on the bright side. I had the luck of working with him, of being hired by him in ICANN, and I was always so inspired by this attitude. He left ICANN, and the way he left ICANN, personally, I think he wasn't really happy the way he left, but he didn't turn sour. He kept in the community, he kept working proactively. He did that in a really selfish way, putting even his health on the line. And I think this is a learning that we should cherish. This is a community, it's so warming to see how many people share all these thoughts and memories of Nigel. But I think this particular feature of Nigel, of being there for the cause, for the internet, was so true that it's almost impossible to match, but that's what we have to aspire for. I'm sure that he will be, wherever he is, he's looking at us and he will continue to inspire us with his experience. As you can see, I was working with him for many years, but I didn't learn this amazing capacity that he had to stand up and give a speech and inspire every situation. But I hope I made my point, and I really miss him. It's been very hard.
Thank you very much, Andrea. We need to close the queue. Therefore, it will be great that the last one on the queue is Adam, and we go. Bruna, please take the floor.
Thanks, Sebastian. I don't want to make it any longer, but perhaps just highlighting some of the things that everyone has said. Nigel was always very warm, very open, and a personality that transcended many spaces. He was someone that belonged not just to ICANN, but to IGF space, cherishing the ITU forums and so on. I asked to take the floor just to maybe take this space and call on us really to make sure that his excitement, his warmness, and also his dedication to these topics really becomes our motivator, not just this year and the WSIS Plus 20 review, but for the many years to come within ICANN and many of the other spaces we're at. So let's not forget him, and let's make sure we're actually paying tribute to his memory every day within our work and within our participation in these spaces. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Bruna. Adam, please.
Right. I'll give it a last go and see if I can hold this together. Something I learned on Saturday. So Nigel was sitting by the window looking at a garden, unusually a sunny day, looking over a sort of vista of houses in suburban North London. And his wife pointed out about a mile and a bit away, a kilometre or two, that was where Nigel was born, Potters Bar, North London. And then she pointed a bit further, and that was where he went to school, which, if you look at the list of people on this call and the people he loves and were loved by in ICANN, we met him all around the globe. The people he met at the ITU, hundreds of, not hundreds, tens of ICANN meetings, IGFs, all around the world. And yet he came home to the place almost where he was born, where he went to school, where he had a wonderful family and a beautiful garden, a very grounded man. I was trying to think of a word to think of him, and it's just grounded. He's, I don't know, stable and admirable and a good man. So thank you, Bruno. We should remember him, and we will, and act like him. So do good things and help people. I guess that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam, and thank you all who spoke and all who write in the chat. We will have other opportunity. I just wanted to take this opportunity because we are meeting at, let's say, a European gathering with people from all around the world, but I wanted to take this opportunity to give a tribute to Nigel. I will not add to all what the good work you said, but I am totally supporting them, and I think it's really great.